Your first question was, if Miguel didn't out me in the 7th grade, when would I have came out? I think initially in the 7th grade I was already trying to come out because my whole life I've always felt different than other people. Like I knew it wasn't accepted either, so I definitely didn't tell anybody. But in the 7th grade I thought, from elementary school, coming from a small pond, I was going into a bigger pond. It wasn't the biggest pond, but it was a bigger pond, and I thought people would be more open-minded or have more experiences with who I am and people that I identify with. But I was slowly starting to come out in the 7th grade, and so then I told my best friend, and my best friend just kind of accelerated the process of coming out. And so by the end of 7th grade, I was definitely out of the closet, and everybody knew, and it was to the point where I didn't have any friends. But I think if he didn't accelerate the process, I would have came out probably within my first couple years of high school. Just because if I'm already coming out in the 7th grade and slowly telling more people, 8th grade, you're still with the same people. But high school, and even high school, I think if I wasn't outed, I probably would have went to the high school I was supposed to go to. How everyone's supposed to go to that, supposed to follow that one-track high school, and then, I decided to go to a different one because the process was accelerated. And I wanted to be with people that didn't know who I was, and so I could start all over. So maybe even then it would have probably my first or second year. I don't think I would have waited till my 3rd year. Can I say that my 3rd year in high school I wouldn't have transferred to a different high school? Can I say that I would have came back to Maryville? I don't know, but I think I would have came out within my first 2 years of high school. Just because at least we're in a bigger pond than I expected than being in middle school. Probably sophomore year. That's when I had my first girlfriend. But maybe I wouldn't have had my first girlfriend until later on in high school. I don't know. Maybe everything would have been pushed back than how I've experienced it. But to be completely honest, I'm actually really grateful for the process to be accelerated, because to me that's given me more time to create myself and discover myself and find out more about myself. Because if it would have happened in high school and I would have came out in high school, that was a pretty popular time for a lot of people to come out, and so with college. But because I came out at such a young age, you think of being 12 years old, people shouldn't be thinking about that stuff at 12 years old, but I think people, or at least for myself, if I wouldn't have came out at such an early age, I wouldn't have had as much time as a lot of people to really, find out who I really am. If anything, I have 10 years, I'm 23, I've had 11 years to be fully, to not have to hide that secret for such a long time. People are still hiding it to this day. People will hide that secret until they die. And the fact that I was able to do it within 12 years of life, after I've known since before kindergarten. I was having crushes on women that I probably shouldn't have been having crushes on women, because I didn't know what our title was or anything like that. But it's given me 10 years to really learn how to accept myself and learn how to, just be myself. Because that's the biggest thing that a lot of people, that's a part of someone's identity. I can't come out of the closet as a person of color. I can't come out of the closet of a woman, being a woman. I can't come out of the closet as being some sort of Pacific Islander Asianness. That's already there. That's all physical. But someone's identity is, the identity on the inside. Even I can't, it's difficult to come out of the closet. People definitely go into situations of their socioeconomic status, depending on people's cars or shoes, things like that. So I think someone's sexual identity is one of the toughest things to come out of the closet at. There's a lot of things that it's difficult to have that hard conversation, but because I did it at such a young age, it's given me more time to just be me. And I think it's more of a blessing than a curse than a lot of people would expect it. And I definitely think, being older and seeing my peers who are barely coming out at college, and to know more of myself than them. They're barely, what they're going through right now, I went through when I was 12 years old. So if you imagine that time span of allowing to be myself in communities and many of the times being that first person a lot of people experience, being that first experience for a lot of people, like, someone had to be the first one to do it, and it seemed like that role was, I kind of just took on that role after that, that situation occurred with my friend. So I think if anything, it's more of a blessing than a curse. So